Hello and welcome, Reds, to the latest episode of the Daily Red podcast. I'm covering for Dave this afternoon. Dave, hope you're well, bud. Anyway, well, yeah, Reds, if you are new to Anfield Index, want to keep up to date on all things LFC throughout the week and throughout the month as well, as it will be. We're all hoping for a busy January, but you never know what's around the corner for the Reds in terms of the transfer market. So do like, share, and subscribe here on Anfield Index, of course. If you've been watching or listening to the content throughout today, obviously there's been a news round from Dave Davis, of course, and there was a great interview with Dave and David Lynch as well on the Anfield Index socials and channels as well. So check that out on the YouTube side and check out Anfield Index on all your usual audio podcasts as well. Just search Anfield Index. But Reds, I've just couple of bits and bobs anyway, really. Obviously Dave and David Lynch have very much covered today's anyway, but just thought to just mention, obviously there's been a couple of articles in regards to Micky Van de Ven. We'll go through them, true, false, whatever. We'll take apart that story, really. Do we think it's going to happen? Probably not anyway, but if in another world, would you like him at Liverpool? But if you are watching on the repeat as well, make sure you do get your comments in the comment section below as well, Reds. But firstly, we'll get straight into all the news, really. And Reds, we're going to be speaking about Sadio Mane, a bit about Micky Van de Ven, a couple of new signings for the Liverpool ladies, and I'll touch on that as well. A couple of bit of very important safety information in regards to the travelling cop going all the way to France. Probably travelled already now, set off, and obviously by land, train, or plane, or whatever mode of transport, the travelling cop always finds a way. And yeah, certainly it's going to be a big game on Wednesday. So anyone going the game, will run through all that bit of information as well for you anyway. But yeah, let's waste no time. Let's get straight into it. Reds, if you are in the live comments, we'll try and get through as many live comments as we possibly can as well. If you've got any questions or whatever, but if you do support Anfield Index through super chats as well, we can get to your question as well and your message straight away anyway. But firstly, we'll get straight over to obviously another new signing for Liverpool ladies as well. Obviously, this is off the back of Denise O'Sullivan signing for the Liverpool ladies as well. Much needed. I've not watched too much of the Liverpool ladies this season, but I know a lot of you do Reds as well. Obviously, Liverpool at the bottom, the Liverpool ladies WSL, which is disappointing considering I think we didn't finish 4th or 5th last season. It was a strong outing anyway, of course. But obviously, yeah, it's a good sign, and I think much needed, really. Ariella, obviously the Switzerland's international forward, has put finishing touches to a transfer to the AXA training at Melwood Training Centre. Anyway, soon after Casal turned 23. Apologies on the pronunciation as well, though, Reds. She goes on to add the 20 who turns 23 as well this January. For me, the Barclays Women's Super League was a dream. When I was a child, I always wanted to play in the Super League. And then when I heard from Liverpool, it was a nice city, a nice club, and a lot of tradition and history. I didn't have any doubts to join this winter as well. Liverpool's training centre is amazing. I've never seen a training centre in a women's club like this. This is very surprised. I was very surprised. I'm happy that I could see that this and join also as well. Obviously started her career in FC Blue Stars Zurich before moving to Grasshoppers Club Zurich, where she broke into the first team that was set up in 2020. A switch to the FC Basel followed in January 2023 as well, before Singlang joined Freiburg last summer, where she made 12 senior appearances, international caps for Switzerland, scoring 1 and arriving at Liverpool, having made 14 appearances as well for the Bundesliga ladies division as well for Freiburg. So another interesting signing, of course, the Irish midfielder O'Sullivan did sign from the American Women's League as well. So very much needed as well. Obviously, with the sad news of Matt Beard this last couple of months ago, anyway. Very devastating news, and obviously thinking of everyone involved and Matt's family and everything. But I think in terms of on the pitch, in regards to getting quality into the football club for the ladies' side, I think it's very important. I think, as obviously the new signs have already alluded to, and Ariel did mention obviously the training complex, and obviously Melwood, the former obviously Liverpool training complex for the men's team. Anyway, that's going to be a massive draw as well. And I think that obviously Olivia Smith did move to Arsenal for a record 1 million fee. That was a big coup for the Liverpool lady. A lot of money when you think about obviously the modern game of the ladies game. It's still developing. Obviously the great Barcelona sides for the ladies team. Obviously some very talented footballers, but obviously the England national side for the Liverpool Lionesses has really been progressing. So the more big names and the more exposure as well. It's great to see that obviously you still got a long way to go in terms of developing the league, but that will improve year on year. And I think the more eyes on the women's game, the better, really. And I think, obviously, in terms of Liverpool, most importantly, our point of view, the Liverpool ladies side, hopefully we can start winning a couple of trophies in the years to come as well. So pretty sure. And the more signs of that in that nature as well. So best luck to Ariella. Should be a good sign as well. So, and hopefully we can just stay in the division, most importantly. But going to the next story as well now, obviously this just come out just before we come on air as well, Reds. Important safety information for the travelling Reds going to France. Obviously the game's on Wednesday night as well, but anyone that's watching or listening as well who are travelling over, there's been a bit of information really from Liverpool's ticketing website and just Liverpool's general website. Tickets are now sold out for Liverpool's away Champions League fixture against Olympique Marseille on Wednesday. Any supporters with a ticket to this fixture, and the club would like to remind that the importance of safety measures have been advised by the local authorities in Marseille for the visits. We're aware that the fan experience of European aways is incredible to an experience for supporters, as domestic away game includes how visiting European fans experience Anfield as well. So just a little bit about on obviously where the supporters are strongly advised to book accommodation near the fan meeting point on the Place de la Gillette. Completely butchered that, but Gillette, hopefully. So Reds check that out as well. Obviously all the information is available on LFC Help Centre, and we'll be at the La Croix Place Palace as well. So it's always great. I think I've never had the great privilege of going to a European away days anyway, but they are special. If you are watching or listening as well, they're probably the best experiences any Liverpool fan will have. But I think in terms of obviously the travelling cop creating songs as well, Liverpool staunched great history in regards to very much doing amazing really, and just the amazing songs that do get created. And hopefully we come up with a Hugo Ekitike song. Maybe there's already a couple of great Fleury and Wirtz songs as well that are getting sung already on the concourse. But yeah, let's hope this season's very good and successful in terms of European football as well. Match day in Marseille before the game, supporters shoved no flags, just going through the little bits and bobs as well. Traveling to the stadium, supporters must be located 4:30 local time on a match day as well, but obviously the usual as well. Yeah, just going for that, leaving for the stadium. So Reds, if you are going the game, best of luck, safe travels as well. Hopefully the Reds will come back with all 3 points on Wednesday night, and it very much be a big boost really, as we know. Obviously David Lynch and Dave Davis spoke about obviously previewing that as well on today's Media Matters episode, so do check that out as well, Reds. But yeah, for any travelling cop that have already set off or are going tonight or tomorrow, then just head over to LFC Help as well, the latest information in that regard as well. So looking forward to that. I'll be live on Wednesday night. Should be a good one, hopefully. And but yeah, let's go into a little bit about the African Cup of Nations as well, Reds. an amazing tournament. I always do love watching the African Cup of Nations, of course. Host Morocco did sadly did get beat in the final. If you were living under a rock anyway, it was a very exciting end to the final last night. If you didn't see it anyway, but I'm pretty sure you've watched or read or analysed some of the bits and bobs anyway that come off it. But another African Cup of Nations trophy for former Liverpool player Sadio Mane. Tell you, what a player he was for Liverpool. And certainly for his, obviously, he did knock out Mohamed Salah in the semi-finals. Obviously, Egypt against Senegal anyway. But yeah, I made up for him, Sadio, and I think for all of us are for what he done for Liverpool. And I think we'd love a prime Sadio Mane in this Liverpool side, of course. He's the modern era for me, the modern era John Barnes. John Barnes was tremendous, probably in a lot of Liverpool fans' top 5 all-time Liverpool players, John Barnes. But for me, in terms of, I'm 30 anyway, but for the younger Reds out there, I'm 30 anyway, around my age, obviously Sadio Mane, probably obviously under the Jurgen Klopp years as well. He for me still is, for people my age, the benchmark of the quality and the standard level that should be required to be representing Liverpool. Of course, it will be a sad time when Salah does depart, maybe at the end of his contract or whatever does happen with Mo anyway. But yeah, Sadio Mane, I think in terms of him just helping his country win 2 African Cup of Nations as well, the format of the tournament is going to be changing over the next couple of seasons as well. It will be going to a kind of a World Cup format every 4 years. So yeah, Sadio, well done, lads. Obviously did get the goal in the semi-finals against Egypt in their 1-0 win. But yeah, it was a bit of a mad end to the tournament. Obviously, Diaz, the former Real Madrid player, did miss a penalty at the back end of it. Yeah, it was a bit of a madness, really, but it was good to see the tournament end in the way in which it did. Obviously, the Senegal, and big credit has to go to Sadio in terms of staying on the pitch. Obviously, if all the players did depart the pitch, as a lot of them did, a lot of them went into the tunnel as well. But Sadio was the ultimate professional. He was the captain of his national side. He stayed on the pitch, especially, but Mane, pure, utter professional, and what he did for Liverpool as well. But I think if he didn't do that, then Senegal certainly would have been suspended from the tournament, and of course, Morocco would have very much been awarded the tournament as well. So do apologize, chat. My green screen has decided to pack in. Nice. There we go. No, not that one. There we go. Apologies, Reds. So yeah, a little bit on Sadio Mane winning the African Cup of Nations as well. Well done, Sadio. And yeah, bit disappointing, I think, for all of us are that he couldn't quite Salah couldn't quite win the African Cup of Nations as well. But quickly touching on, obviously, as I said, chat, we'll have a little look at some of the rumours and latest reports anyway. But obviously, this come from Samuel Thompson, obviously on Anfield Index as well. The latest article: Liverpool target 90 million Premier League start as Virgil van Dijk's successor. And there's probably a lot of you screaming, or if you are watching or listening, no. But yeah, we'll have a little look at his injury record as well in a little second, in terms of the analysis of him as a whole overall package as well. But Samuel goes on to add Liverpool's defensive success plan and case for Micky Van de Ven as well. But he goes, just mentioned this is not a time to panic. Knows that admission of decline. It's about timing, profile, and the understand of how defensive authority underpins everything Liverpool want to be in the seasons ahead as well. And according to reports from fishhatch.net, Liverpool are prepared to invest heavily to secure a long-term successor for Micky Van de Ven as well, as it emerged as a standout candidate. Of course, planning beyond Virgil van Dijk, Samuel does go on to add, Van Dijk remains essential to Liverpool's identity. His presence still dictates the line, the tempo, and the emotional the temperature of matches. Yet Liverpool's hierarchy are actively aware that elite defenders do not simply appear when required. They must be identified early, shaped and carefully, and integrated with patience as well. And that's obviously, as we've seen with the patience aspect of, obviously we've seen Florian Wirtz come in, Ekitike has hit the ground running, which is fantastic, but not every other. That doesn't necessarily especially adapting to the Premier League. We all know of all the thousands of hours of that we've watched at Liverpool and just Premier League in general. It's never always a straight hit, really, for some players that come in. So that was just a little one in regards to that as well. Do I think Liverpool will go for Micky Van de Ven? I don't think so. I spoke about him prior to, obviously, when he was at Germany on a couple of years back anyway, prior to his move. He's a massive Liverpool fan. If you've seen some of the images that were bouncing around, he was linked with Liverpool. Obviously, prior to his Tottenham move, I reported on that all those years ago as well. And yeah, he's certainly a very interesting profile, very quick over the space. It certainly is, for me, the quickest centre-half in European football, up there in the top 3 anyway. But it's those hamstrings for me, and this is why I brought up, obviously, his muscular injuries, really. He's had, obviously, a knee injury in 2021-2022 season, where he was out for 14 days anyway, where he did play in Holland. But yeah, you look at that, and since he moved to Tottenham, he's had hamstring injury, 5 hamstring injuries, which are a big concern, really, where when we analyse Liverpool over the years, Gomez, he's been decimated with injuries, Joel Matip as well, decimated with injuries in his playing career, not just at Liverpool. And I think that's been one of Liverpool's difficult moments, and I think where Arne Slot has struggled, really, in regards to just selecting a consistent back line. And we've seen over the years, even Liverpool in the 70s, 80s, and even in the Jurgen Klopp years, where when we were successful, we had such a solid foundation, a basis of just being able to pick the midfield, the defence, the forward line, of course, of Mane, Firmino, and Salah as well. That's where I do feel this season, obviously, a lot of things happened off the pitch and even on the pitch as well in terms of new players coming in. But I think that's why I do analyse the window, this January window, and even the back end as this season will end as well. I don't expect Liverpool to be doing a lot of business, but I think it will be a case of we do a fair bit of business at the end of the season. I think we might have a bit of an inconsistent start next year. Hopefully that's not the case. But Reds, as I said, this is why I do not think Micky Van de Ven will sign for Liverpool, because, yeah, off the back of having Gomez, and if he is to depart to AC Milan, Joe Gomez, I don't think Liverpool certainly don't be needing to sign another centre-half that has been plagued with injuries in his career, sadly. He's a top centre-half on his day, I think, in terms of extremely difficult to beat him in a 1v1 situation. But the case in where Liverpool, and this is why I did like Mark Gahey, but just before we come on air, Manchester City did announce the announcement fully, but it's come out that Mark Gahey, he's going to be on over £300,000 a week, allegedly, from some of the reports, which is, I think it comes in at over £100 million. This is why everyone goes, oh, it's a 20 million fee. Yeah, but you've got to add on the wages. I think it's like a 6-year deal as well for Mark Gahey. I was banging a drum for Mark Gahey. I love him as a profile, as a centre-half, fantastic, the exact profile Liverpool needed. But when you look at the financial package, 100 odd million for Mark Gahey, he's a very good centre-half, but we're not signing Maldini, in all honesty. But City will see John Stones depart at the end of this season. I think he's got a year left, so I'm pretty sure John Stones, when he left Everton, would have been on a big chunk of money anyway. Very successful centre-half, John Stones, but I think, yeah, it's more or less a like-for-like in terms of the English profile, really, and the quality that they are getting as well. But yeah, just looking at those injuries, I'd be disappointed if he did come in. Yeah, just looking at that as well, really. And you look at it, just quickly touching on the amount of minutes and the games he has played in his career as well. Obviously, this season has featured 21 times anyway, so touch wood, he's been available. He's obviously played over 1,800 odd minutes last season, He only played 13 games. This is obviously domestic league anyway, sorry, chat. 13 games in the Premier League last season, only averaged 1,000 minutes in the Premier League, which is not good enough, really, in all honesty. And then the year prior to that, he featured 27 times. And then the year before that in the Bundesliga for Wolfsburg, that was probably, it was a standout season in terms of playing minutes in a domestic league for Wolfsburg. Probably exactly why Tottenham did go out and buy him, really, anyway. He played 33 times in the season, 22-23 season for Wolfsburg. So, and he played 2,900 minutes. And you're looking at that over the last 3-4 year period as well, or the 3 years following that. It's not enough football. And Liverpool were to go out and sign a centre half, of course. I don't think Micky Van de Ven should be, ideally. So, chat, let us know your thoughts. If you are watching or listening to the podcast later, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below as well in that regard. But he's a good centre half. But for the amount of money Liverpool would be needed to shell out, you need at least a centre half that's at least playing a minimum 30 Premier League games. And I think where Liverpool's upturn and form will hopefully arrive with Arne in the next 12 months is just consistency. It's so annoying, especially when you look at injuries down that right-hand channel at Liverpool's defence. Frimpong come to England, not necessarily having a lot of injuries in his playing career, but that just goes, that's why you're thinking it's the intensity. The intensity of the Premier League is the most ferocious European league in world football. Bundesliga, very athletic, but I think in terms of the different changes of direction of centre-halves, forwards as well, the physicality, it's not just the speed, but in terms of the way in which you've got to be really agile as a modern-day footballer, especially in the Premier League, and you've got to be big, physical. That's either a centre-half or a full-back anyway, but if you're not, then you've got to have a big asset. Obviously, Frimpong, one of the quickest, if not certainly like Micky Van de Ven in top 3 of European quickest full-backs as well. So for what Frimpong sometimes does lack in terms of his physicality, he certainly makes up in terms of his quickness and his ability to counteract certain other defensive transitions as well. So quickly touching on obviously a couple of comments from obviously Hugo Ekitike. Obviously this comes from Kevin Brown, obviously on Anfield Index website as well, from his latest article. Ekitike talks Marseille excitement ahead of the Champions League tie as well. Hugo Ekitike reflects on Marseille ahead of the Champions League return. Obviously, Kevin goes on to add, Hugo Ekitike will be set into familiar territory this week as Liverpool travel to Marseille in the UEFA Champions League for a player whose formative years were spent navigating the sharp divides of the French football as well. And the occasion carries a particular emotional weight. Marseille, after having a long occupied a complicated place in national admiration as well. Ekitike's journey began at the Stade de Reims as well, a club defined by patience and promise before a high-profile move to Paris Saint-Germain accelerated his exposure to football brightness lights as well. Obviously, it's just not just Hugo Ekitike, but you look at Kolo Muani as well. You look at even Goncalo Ramos has done okay, but I think to an extent of the big money that they've invested in a lot of big strikers as well. It's no bad thing that Hugo didn't hit the heights. There's been many players that have moved to Paris Saint-Germain. It hasn't quite worked out as well. So, but he's banging in the goals now. So that's the main thing. And he's going to be given a platform to hopefully get a consistent run in the French national side as well. Obviously, Hugo spoke about in the past, obviously big admiration in terms of his playing quality of Karim Benzema as well. And I can see certainly similarities to Benzema's game in Hugo Ekitike's build up, his link up play as well. That's one of the biggest aspects that Benzema did do, of course, getting the goals, but his ability to link up a forward line for Real Madrid. And sometimes when he did play for the national side, when he was a bit more younger, even his prior years, in his younger years in Lyon as well, Benzema. But Hugo goes on to add, speaking on the game on Wednesday night, I'm excited to play this match against Marseille. Marseille are a club that I've watched since I was young, as well as Paris. I love the Stade Velodrome, Ekitike said. It's one of the best I've never been, but if it was to ever go, probably one of the best. Certainly, the atmospheres wise, from documentaries I've watched anyway, but it's certainly you watch French footballers and players, and even French fans as well. One of the best stadiums in European football in terms of what like the atmosphere it generates. The Velodrome, memories and formative favourite moments as well, is not unfamiliar to Ekitike as he played there twice. Kevin does go on to add as well. Both visits left an imprint as a Reims player. He scored in a 1-1 draw and a moment of personal affirmation inside one of Europe's most demanding arenas. Later, whilst at Paris Saint-Germain, he returned as part of a side stunned by in the Coupe de France in a 2-1 defeat as well. A reminder that history and atmosphere still matter, even in champions as well. Coach carries. So yeah, he goes on to add. Hugo Ekitike, it is a magnificent stadium with crazy supporters. I think it will be welcomed well there. There is no hate. I have always liked Marseille. So yeah, obviously he's going to be huge for the French national side, Hugo Ekitike, especially if he just keeps on banging in goals. Of course, Kylian Mbappe, Ekitike, Dembele. I think France, especially over the last 10 years, have really, obviously, they've always been a great footballing nation, but I think last 10 years have been really good. Obviously, Kylian Mbappe, I think he won the World Cup, didn't he, when he was 18 years old? But yeah, French football is in a very positive moment, and I think even for the next 5-6 years, they do really well as well, especially with Luis Enrique at Paris Saint-Germain. Their football is only going to be getting better as well. And a quick one, obviously, Alonso encouraged maybe entrance, maybe opportunity for Liverpool youngster as well. This is coming from Harper Morgan on Anfield Index. Quickly touching on, obviously, why Liverpool's future may be already be standing in plain sight as well. Just goes on to add, Liverpool's search for clarity in uncertain seasons is largely focused on names from elsewhere. Florian Wirtz continues to hover in the background of any discussions involving Xabi Alonso. And yeah, it goes on to add, just quickly going on, Harper goes on to add, Morrison's performance that demand attention. So Kieran Morrison, a hat-trick against Arsenal's under-21, was not merely prolific, it was controlled. The goals came in different forms, delivered in the form of calmness, and usual arrives later in his career as well. So just goes on to add, Harper, 19 years old, Morrison already carries the hallmark of Liverpool's academy, quality prioritised in recent years as well, technical literacy, possible positional flexibility, and resistance. 5 goals and 5 assists across 15 Premier League, 2 appearances as well, which is a good little outing anyway. But the main thing is speculation around Alonso's future has inevitably framed the discussions where not the returns. His tactical blueprints has become a reference point for what Liverpool may yet aspire to be, and obviously speaks about Bayer Leverkusen, a system hybrid. But it goes on to add, Harper, Jonas Hoffman flourished in that role, in that right attacking midfield role. Obviously, Kieran Morrison is fully capable of playing in that position as well. So it's going to be a lot of opportunities, really, Reds, as well, in terms of, not just Kieran Morrison, but obviously, I think that's been one of the critiques labelled, certainly, at Arne Slot, is his ability in terms of bringing in younger players. Obviously, Arne spoke on, some of the players that have not really got too many opportunities. But yeah, Kieran Morrison. But if Alonso was to come in, I think that's been a lot of speculation. Of course, whoever does come in, if Arne does stay for the year, or main thing is if Arne doesn't prove, I think I'd like to see certainly not just Kieran Morrison, but a lot of the younger players, especially when Liverpool were playing poor, really. But of course, Arne, he's got to keep his job. He's going to go with he's got more experienced players. He's not going to be starting throwing in 19, 20-year-old players as well into the side. He's going to go for the tried and trusted younger players as well, which is understandable. But if Liverpool were to make that switch under Xabi Alonso, obviously the big remit certainly would be bringing in the likes of a younger profile of players. Obviously, we've seen obviously a couple of new signings, a couple of centre halves over the last couple of weeks as well for the under-21 side. So yeah, if Alonso is to come in, or I think certainly you're looking at certainly Kieran Morrison and a lot more of the other players would certainly get more of a bigger opportunity, a bigger platform, really. Because if Alonso was to come in, there'd be a big onus on graduating the youth players into Liverpool's first team. That's one thing that Liverpool have obviously the big players that have come through. Obviously, McManaman, Gerrard, Carragher. Obviously, Liverpool signed Raheem Sterling from QPR. But even still, at the young age of 16, Liverpool provided Raheem with a big platform to very much thrive. So Liverpool have always trusted in young players, but they've just mostly got to be, most importantly, they've got to be good, and you've got to be right at it as well. So yeah, and so one to keep an eye on. That was obviously from Harper on Liverpool's website as well. And just a quick one touching on obviously Floody and Wirtz as well. Really, Reds. Floody and Wirtz, it's very frustrating. Obviously, speaking on off the back of the 1-1 draw with Burnley, we had enough chances to decide this game as well. We have to be better, he states, the German, in front of goal. Goes on to add how frustrated it was asked by the interviewer in the question. How frustrated were you with the results? And Flo did reply, yes, very frustrated. I think, as you said, we had a lot of chances. Enough chances to decide the game early. We missed that today, so I'm very disappointed on the decision making from Liverpool in the final third. A few times, Wirtz goes on to add, a few times maybe could decide a little bit better, but they were also with Hugo Ekitike's goal, which was offside, I think, a little bit unlucky in a few moments. We have to be better in front of goal, and I think that were so many big there weren't so many big chances, but it's at the end we scored one goal, and that was just not enough today. He goes on to add, and whether Liverpool felt anxiety in front of goal as the game progressed, where it goes on to add, no, I felt that we were really good in the game. From the first half, we played a good game. I think even when they scored the equaliser, up until they scored the equaliser, we were still the better team and had the better chances. It just didn't want to go in again, so it's disappointing as well. So Reds, yeah, I just want to quickly mention that to conclude. Really, I think Floody and Wirtz, it's amazing, really, to see him literally flourish in full flow. Pardon the pun, but I think he's certainly getting to more of what he was doing in Germany. He's become a lot more relaxed, and I think that's one of the most important things as a fan when he analysed the game. Really, is just having the ability of getting the players into more favoured positions, but mainly having them as comfortable as they possibly can. You look at, obviously, we just mentioned Hugo Ekitike's great form so far in a Liverpool shirt. Hopefully, he continues that on Wednesday night. But I think we mentioned, obviously, the defensive injuries at the back line, very disrupted Liverpool. But I think the main thing for Liverpool going into post-January, February, March time is if Arnett hopefully can turn everything round. But if not, then, of course, a lot more speculation will be surrounding his future at Liverpool anyway. But if he can turn it round, I think certainly Floody and Wirtz will have a massive, massive role and say in that. Of course, we all knew his quality as well. But I think one of the biggest things, especially for Arne, as the questions that were asked, obviously, at the beginning of the year was, can you get Salah? Can you get Floody and Wirtz in the same team, functioning from a tactical perspective? So yeah, I think Liverpool, of course, have been in recent weeks in terms of getting, as Flo just alluded to, couldn't quite get that extra goal. Salah does provide you goals, but I think it's up to Arne to get Flo in the team, get Salah, get Ekitike in the team. Do you drop Gakpo or do you play him? Because if Gakpo's playing, he needs to start, for me, linking up much better with Milos Kerkez. It's an absolute joke, really. And I think, obviously, Kerkez was very active against Burnley, and it's probably one of the best games we've seen from Milos in terms of getting past the halfway line. So if Gakpo's playing with Kerkez, just get your head up, Cody. You've got Kerkez, who's he's like a bunny going up and down. Really, he's got so much energy. And Gakpo, if he wants to cut inside, don't always go with the inside option. You've got Kerkez there, especially when Kerkez is running for a good 60 yards, full pelt down that left-hand flank, and he's made an amazing run and he doesn't get played. It's frustrating. And I'm pretty sure Kerkez, he won't say it to his team. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm hoping he does say it to Cody. Like, just need it. Obviously, he might be the new guy anyway, Kerkez, but just have a bit more confidence about yourself as well. So, yeah, Reds, obviously, that was just a little bit about on obviously the on Liverpool at the minute. Hello, Reds. I do apologise how long the computer absolutely packed in. So I do apologise. I don't know how much you did listen because I was talking for a good 2-3 minutes as well. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on all the stories as well. I do apologise, Reds, if I've been frozen, but it was all right. But the stream, but yeah, do apologise, Reds. Hopefully that hasn't impacted too much of the audio anyway. We'll find out. I'll have to edit it anyway. But Reds, thank you for everyone for getting involved. Let's get through a couple of your comments as well. But big up there, Rids as well, all the way from Mauritius. Big up there, bud. But yeah, as Han has said there, no thanks to want the Dutch Canate as well. Yeah, it's him and Romero as well. Obviously, what's his name? Thomas Frank. He's going through certain. It looks like Thomas Frank could be getting sacked anyway. But yeah, fair enough. I'd concur with you. Neil as well. No sign the club pushing for any signings. Yeah, big up there, Neil. Head over to obviously the latest media matters as well with Dave Davis and David Lynch as well, mate. Obviously, the lads go through all the latest, the transfer news as well. David Lynch giving his expert insight on all the latest transfer news, mate. So check that out, buds. But at the minute, obviously, we spoke about the Micky Van de Ven rumour. That's all it is at the minute, really. Not really too concrete on that regards. But yeah, big up there, up to the Reds, sitting on our hands when we rivals do sign targets. Yeah, it's a bit mad, really, mate, isn't it? Of course, last season, Liverpool only signed Federico Chiesa. Went on and won the league, really. We've signed a couple of big players, Isaac Ekitike, Wirtz, and sadly, it hasn't quite hit the ground really running. But yeah, it's usual teams. So yeah, it's one of them really. Disappointing this season, but certainly if we can, hopefully, that's what we should be aspiring to do is win the Champions League this season anyway. In knockout games, and especially Liverpool this season, games against Real Madrid, games against even Arsenal a couple of weeks ago anyway, even though it was a draw, Liverpool somehow turned up a bit more in terms of the defensive side of Liverpool's game, not our attacking side of the game, but the defensive side of the game. Liverpool turned up as well, and we beat Arsenal at the certainly at Anfield, so we can raise our expectations when needs be. Big up there, Caffey, as usual. Other teams get to pick an available signs, and we just sit and wait as well. And if give Gehi and Semenyo big up there, Caffey disappointed about obviously missing out on Gehi and Semenyo as well. Yeah, and it's frustrating though, Caffey and it, Reds as well, all of us. City will certainly, off the back of those two signings, you do look at, hopefully Pep Guardiola doesn't stay at Manchester City for any longer than this season anyway. I think he's got a year left on his contract, but when you analyse it, of course, Liverpool have strengthened in Wirtz, Ekitike and other signings as well. We can't compete wage-wise, and we've got a structure as well, but sometimes that structure does hinder us in certain departments as well. Certainly does hinder us, but there's a reward factor as well. But if you want to sign the best players, that's why it was so refreshing. Liverpool went out and got Flunny and Wirtz. All of us were looking at each other in the window, going, "Well, spends 100 plus million on two players. How very rare is that Liverpool smash our transfer record very quickly back to back in one window?" But when you're buying caliber of players like Isaac and Wirtz, with Wirtz, you're getting, if he stays at your football club for 10 years, and has a very successful, even a couple Premier Leagues pays for itself, really, and it's worth its weight in gold, really. So, Liverpool, but chat, Reds, I do apologise, Reds, if it did freeze anyway. I'll have to watch this on the repeat. Hopefully, didn't miss too much anyway. But Reds, I've been your host, McIndoe, on the latest episode of the Daily Red podcast. Of course, head over, of course, to YouTube or the audio side as well. We've got Media Matters with Dave Davis and David Lynch this afternoon. Latest episode of News Round as well from Dave Davis. You've got the Red Room tomorrow. Possible, obviously, more be on the spot this week, possibly as well, and a couple of plenty other great podcasts as well. That will be coming out this week, and I'll be live on Wednesday night doing the watch long. Lewis will be after the full-time whistle as well on Wednesday night. So Reds, plenty to get stuck into across the board on Anfield Index. A massive thank you for everyone that did get involved this afternoon, Reds. Look after yourself. You never walk alone, Reds. And as always, thank you for tuning in. Do like, share and subscribe to Anfield Index to keep up to date on all things Liverpool.